Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. I am Lawrence Presman. I can't believe my parents gave me that stupid name. He is Teddy Covers, and you're watching the best daily all sports betting show on the planet. And guys, if you've never watched this show, I'm telling you, you're going to get a ton of betting information, some laughs along the way. Teddy, what are they going to hear? Who's on?
We're going to talk with Rob Veno right out of the gate. He's going to talk a little MLB. Tampa Bay and the hottest team in baseball, the Oakland A's, just can't lose right now. Rob will break that down for us. He's also going to talk some CFL, Edmonton and BC. The Lions playing this weekend, BC -7 in that ball game. Dwayne Bryant's going to join us next. He's going to talk Miami and Seattle and Phillies and Arizona in MLB action. One full game. We'll just talk about the first inning. Nick Borman is going to close out the show. He's going to talk U.S. Open, talk about Tyrell Hatton and Shane Lowry props, in particular for that duo. And what bettors learned, I'm going to talk about the Knights winning the Stanley Cup last night. And in our BS segment, question from Biggie J talking about MLB odds, how they get made, how they get set. We'll talk about that as well. So let's get into it, Prez. Loaded Wednesday edition of WagerTalk Today.
Absolutely, Teddy Covers. Rob Veno joining us. Rob, we love having you on. How are you, my friend?
I am good today, Prez. How are you guys?
Yeah, look, I'm working with Teddy, so 6 out of 10. Teddy's a 10 out of 10, though. He gets to work with me. You're looking good. You enjoying your summer?
Yeah, summertime, always a little bit of fun. We get a hair bit of relaxation in the summertime because of the sports that really overlap heavily are now concluded with the finish of NBA and NHL. So, yeah, a little bit of fun here. The weather's been good here, Prez, on the East Coast. So it has been, we've been able to take advantage of it a little bit.
Rob Veno joining us, everyone. You can find him at WagerTalk.com, the best sports betting advice website on the planet by far. Rob, the Oakland A's, man. This team's the hottest team in baseball, and yet their record is 19 wins and 50 losses on the year. They're playing the 48-22 Tampa Bay Rays. They're playing at home. Medina is on the mound. They're a huge underdog at plus 230. Is it time to fade Oakland?
Well, I think it is, and it's a little out of my comfort zone here, Prez, because I don't like laying this type of price, but I'm going to play full game run line with Tampa Bay -160, and I'm going to base this as I do, 75% of my selections on the starting pitching matchup here. Tyler Glasnow for the Tampa Bay Rays is steadily regaining his ace-type status here. Last 3 games, his pitch counts have been 84, 88, and 83. They total 15 2/3 innings, 20 Ks over those 15 2/3. So his lively fastball is back. The ERA over that span, 2.87. His whip, 1.08. Important to note that those 3 starts were against Texas, the number 3 OPS team in Major League Baseball, at Boston, the number 8 OPS team in baseball, and versus the LA Dodgers, number 6 OPS. You've got 3 of the best hitting teams in baseball that he's facing. He's come up with those solid numbers. The A's don't fit that. They don't qualify as one of the best OPS teams in baseball. They qualify as one of the worst, number 29. The 7-game winning streak is nice. Last night was nice. The reverse boycott. However, since they started this streak in Pittsburgh when they were hitting the ball really well, that offense has cooled down quite a bit, guys. 3 of the last 4 games, 2, 4, and 2 runs. That's 8 runs total. A couple of 1-run victories here against Tampa Bay, low-scoring affairs. Their team batting average in each game over the last 4, 167, 194, 212, and 219. They're not tearing the cover off the ball. They may have to tear the cover off the ball because Luis Medina is on the hill for them tonight. His overall numbers aren't pretty, but I'm going to focus on the problem that he's had at home with the home run ball. He's only thrown 17 innings at home this year. He's given up 6 home runs. That's 1 in less than every 3 innings against Tampa Bay, which has the number 1 slugging percentage in Major League Baseball, the number 1 OPS in Major League Baseball. Overall at home, he's giving up an OPS of 855, 5.71 ERA. He's given up 15 hits in his 17 home innings. And 9 of those 15 are extra base hits. So 60% of the time he's given up a double, a triple, or a home run. It's not good against Tampa Bay. Not exactly a good hand and glove fit. I think that there might be a little bit of a letdown after last night's crowd of 27,000. Even Oakland A's players and their manager admitted that it was a little bit eerie seeing so many people there and using the crowd to propel them to victory late last night in the 8th inning. I don't think it happens again, guys. I think Tampa Bay avoids the sweep here with a pretty solid victory with Glasnow on the hill. So I'm going to lay the 1.5 runs and lay the $1.60.
So conceptually, I fully understand the concept here, Rob. It's an A's team that isn't going to go on many winning streaks like this, and it's certainly a starting pitching mismatch for this ballgame. But when you have an absolute bottom feeder like Oakland, who the markets have devalued as much as they're going to devalue any team in baseball. You have a team that's being talked about as the single worst team of all time, a team that people are lining up to bet against. And then suddenly they go on a hot streak, their first and only hot streak this season. Why do we want to step in front of them and lay a price to do so? They're kind of stealing games right now. Can't they steal this one?
Yeah, and it's Major League Baseball, right, Teddy? As the old saying goes, even the worst team wins 60 games, and Oakland's using up theirs right now. I just feel like and again, I'm generally not afraid to step in front of these type of freight trains. I know that's not common practice. Most in baseball, you get on it, you ride it, and then when it ends, you get off it. But when the situation dictates it, I think it's not a bad idea to step in front of it here. Again, $1.60 is a little more than I would like to lay. As I look here right now, we can get 55. So please shop out there for your best number. But the Tyler Glasnow resurgence here, to me, too strong to overlook. The Tampa Bay offensive fit against the Oakland pitching, too strong to overlook. And I'm a matchup player, so I'm going to try and step in front of what has become kind of a confident team too, Teddy. Right, young guys that are confident in the locker room right now. But I'll take my shot here. I think it's a real good opportunity.
Rob Veno joining us, everyone. Shout out to Joe and Dan and the staff in our production department. I really like these graphics. I like that, it says your streak underneath your name, 20-9 run in baseball. The show looks great. Rob, let's talk Canadian football, and I'm going to be betting this game myself. Edmonton is playing British Columbia. They lost to Saskatchewan 13-17. The total in that game was 45. It went under. BC is 1-0 on the season with a 25-15 win against Calgary, another under. -7 out there. There's 1 6.5, but on a whole, it looks like it might end at 7.5 when all is said and done. How do we bet this game?
Well, I'm going to try the home favorite, Prez BC. My power rating showed they should be 8. So, that's a small part of the handicap, but a little bit of value there as far as I'm concerned towards the BC side. I think more than that. And again, let me just preface this by saying in all football, the change between weeks 1 and week 2, can be drastic. I just don't know that it'll be drastic here. The Elks had that much anticipated season opener last week, hadn't won at home in forever. Last night they come in, they open as a dog, they become the favorite, and then they go out and lay a complete egg. It was a disappointment in almost every facet of that game. The offense only ran 46 plays total. They only had 275 total yards. Second down conversions for Edmonton last week, 4 of 18, 22%. And what's really problematic, Prez, is the fact that in 2-down conversions of over 3 yards, they're only 2 of 13, 15.4%. So they couldn't make anything last week. Taylor Cornelius, ex-Oklahoma State quarterback, did not look good at all. 13 of 25 for 202. If you take away the 102-yard touchdown pass that he threw, which, believe me, was much more a product of wide receiver Eugene Lewis on that play than it was Taylor Cornelius. You take that out of there, and this guy's 12 of 24 for 102 yards. Not good whatsoever. It's not going to fly here against BC with a pretty good secondary. Offensive line couldn't protect. They allow 5 sacks. So, again, the negatives just piled up for Edmonton last week in that home loss. Defensively, they weren't good. They allowed 50% on 2-down conversions, 13 of 26. And again, like the offense, what's problematic here, the other side, Saskatchewan, made 10 of 18 second down conversions of 7 or more. So even when they were forced into second and long, they converted. No pressure from the Edmonton defensive front. The run defense allowed 6 per carry. I could go on and on. It was a bad night for Edmonton, and I don't know how it gets any better here because Vernon Adams and BC looked tremendous offensively, defensively. They played a much better opponent. They played Calgary, did a pretty good job containing quarterback Jake Mayer in that game, in the Calgary passing game. They took advantage of a Calgary secondary that's been rebuilt, but I don't know that Edmonton is any better defensively. BC had a 162 total yard differential in that game, 423 to 261. Kadeem Carey, the best running back on the other side, was hurt, but still, BC did a pretty good job against the run. Second consecutive home game. I see a lot of advantages here. Vernon Adams over Taylor Cornelius, check. BC pass rush and pass coverage over Taylor Cornelius in the Elks passing game, check. BC versus Edmonton in second down conversions, offensively and defensively, check. And the home field again. So I don't know, Prez, if you could beat Calgary by 10 at home, it seems to me you could beat Edmonton by 10 at home. So I'm going to play that side, the favorite -7.
So, Rob, I know there are a lot of bettors watching the show who have never bet Canadian football. They haven't bet much Canadian football. It's not a sport that the U.S. audience has really embraced, up and down. That being said, when we talk about the nuances of CFL versus XFL or college football or the NFL, is this a let's lay points with the good teams type of a league? Is this let's fade the bad teams every week type of a league? Do we trust the favorites here? Do we trust the dogs here? What are the overall nuances for how you look at the Canadian Football League, if there aren't?
Yeah, and now taking it from me, a guy who watched last year and sat out from playing and jumped in this year, because I feel like I'm prepared to jump in this year. I would say this, Teddy, like any other form of football, you use your eyes. The preseason projections are what they are, and then you use your eyes and you make observations from there. I don't know that that leans heavily favorite. I don't know that that leans heavily dog. The CFL early on in week 1 generally tends to be unders, and the offenses come around later on. But I think when you look at this field of CFL teams, the 9 teams, I think there were some distinct separations between them heading into the season, some injury-based, some talent-based, some off-season acquisition and personnel losses-based. And I'd have to say, and Prez would be as good at this, if not better than I am, but I would have to say that they played out pretty true to form in week 1. The only thing I would say is that in that Winnipeg-Hamilton game, I think people thought Hamilton would stay a little bit closer than they did. They came on late, but I think what I projected early kind of took form in week 1, and let's hope that it holds here true in week 2 with BC -7.
Rob Veno, everybody. And, I just want to add one thing real quick. There's something called a rouge in Canadian football. And that is when you miss your field goal or your punt goes through the end zone, you get 1 point. And that's important to know because 3 and 7 are not as key in the CFL as they are in the NFL. And that's super important to understand. As well, there's a lot of great in-game betting opportunities in the CFL because it's only a sport that has 3 downs, 2 to get your first down, 1 to punt or go for it, depending on field position. You tend to have paces of the game being slow for a while and then high scoring for a while. It kind of goes in waves in that regard. But just to let everyone know, 7 and 3 are not as crucial in the CFL as they are in the NFL. Rob Veno, what do you have to promote?
We're going to promote MLB, Prez. As you mentioned earlier, it's been a really good run as of late, 20-9. The whole season's been pretty good so far, 59% on the year in Major League Baseball. So we have a 4% best bet up and available right now from Major League Baseball action. We will be adding in CFL and USFL as the USFL concludes their season. They're down to the last regular season week here. So catch it all over at WagerTalk.com.
There you go. Rob Veno, everybody. Guys, love having you all in the chat room, adding your thoughts. Rob Braley with us. Rob Braley has his family has owned a bunch of Canadian football teams, and he's a guest sometimes on our CFL show, so make sure to check that out. Andrew Wojciechowski, whatever, does not like Rob's Tampa Bay pick, thinks it's too high. Teddy covers. Let's get into the daily roundup, and then what did bettors learn? Daniel, it's time for the daily roundup. Hey guys, I'm Lawrence Presman, co-founder of WagerTalk, and we got a lot of good stuff happening. A bunch of guys swept the board yesterday, including Jazz and Carmine and Koken. Jazz went 3-0, Carmine 4-0, Koken 3-0. And a shout out to Buster and Tokyo Brandon, who both won their 5% bet. Today, we've got some really great opportunities to make some money. Jazz has a 5% play in Major League Baseball. He's on a 12-3 run. Jimmy Adams, who is just exceptional, only lost one play in the last 5 days. He's got a 5% MLB bet as well. And don't forget the U.S. Open. Andy Lang is your man here, guys. He's on a 6-0 run in golf. He's never had a losing golf season, and he has a 5% play up for this U.S. Open. Plus, that package comes with a lot of other golf bets. As for your promo, I just want to make a quick mention that on the website, WagerTalk.com, the second button is our deals button. If you click on that button, you will actually see all the promotions up on the website. And if you don't see anything you're interested in, just email customer service and request something. If it is reasonable, they will try to accommodate. The schedule for today's shows, first pitch, it's already up at WagerTalk TV. WagerTalk Today, which is up as well. You're watching live, and for those seeing this on Twitter, it's up. And the Hustler Pod is at 5 p.m. Just want to make quick mention that Andy and Nick taped Wager Talk Extra yesterday. That is our U.S. Open preview show, and it's at Wager Talk TV as well. That's your daily roundup. Teddy covers. What did we learn in the wonderful world of sports betting?
Oh, this was fun last night because you know me, Prez. I'm not a hockey fan. I don't know anything about hockey. But I got to be a champion last night. No drama in Vegas.
No, you didn't.
Hoisting the cup. No drama. 6-1 by the end of the second period. Everything fell apart for the Panthers, most notably the goalie Bobrovsky. And Vegas wins the title. Look at the graphic. Las Vegas, title town, baby. I grew up in New York. I'm Mets, Jets, Knicks, Rangers when I was still a fan. 3 of them won titles when I was 2 years old. The Mets won another one when I was 5. After that, I got the Mets in 86, and I cried that night. The Mets haven't won since. The Rangers won in 94. I was happy. They haven't won since. The Jets, no titles. The Knicks, no titles. I went to Michigan, U of M. The Hoops won a title in 89. Football won a title January 1st, 98. I thoroughly enjoyed both. No title since then. The city of Las Vegas, we won a national championship in college basketball in 1990, UNLV over Duke. And then the Aces won a WNBA title last year. So now we won a pair of titles. It was really interesting. The fans weren't crying last night. That was obvious. You know, the long-term emotional connection of being a fan for generations. It's not here for a team that's only been in existence for 6 years. There's no now I can die in peace signs. I heard blubbering everywhere when the Cavs won a title, when the Cubs won a title, the Red Sox, the Bucks. For Vegas last night, there wasn't tears flowing around town. There was a lot of joy. Not so many tears, because that long-term emotional family bond isn't there. That being said, what that title does, it allows me to trash talk. It allows me to trash talk Prez. I'm not even a hockey fan or a Knights fan, but I live in a city of champions. And I can name some of the guys. I can name, let's see, Marceau, Eichel, Stone.
Marceau. Yeah, you messed up the first guy. Marceau.
Hill, the goalie.
Marceau.
I could probably name 5 Knights, but
you couldn't even name the first guy.
City of champions, Prez. How's it feel to be a Leafs fan today?
Well, dude, I mean, listen, you want to talk about the Aces, we can talk about the Raptors. You want to talk about UNLV, we can talk about the Blue Jays. You want to talk about something else, we can talk about the Toronto FC. We got champions too, Teddy. And not only that, the Vegas Golden Knights have the most players coming from Toronto out of any team in the league. So I would say that I'm more of a champion today than you are. You tried to name 5 guys on the team. The first guy you named, you couldn't even pronounce his name correctly, and he was the Conn Smythe winner. Now all of a sudden you're claiming you are a champ. Way to go, Teddy. With that said,
That's the way it works.
No. Shout out to Brian and Marco, who actually have season tickets to the Toronto Golden Knights, who happen to play in Vegas, and they won. Way to go. I love those 2 guys. They are real fans. They can pronounce the names of people on their team. And honest to God, Teddy, it is an incredible story. 6 years in the making. This team made the playoffs day one. They have the best management in the league by far. I am thrilled they won, and you can't bother me.
I'm going to keep trying. You sound a little ornery this morning.
Marceau.
You're trying to come up with some...
Jonathan Marceau.
Well, I don't know. I'm not an
I'm
Knights
a
fan.
champ, guys. I'm a champ.
And yet,
me and
my
Jonathan
city has a
Marceau.
title. We got a parade coming, dude. I'll go to the parade.
Way to go, Teddy.
You know?
Nothing better than all of Vegas celebrating the Toronto boys that play for your team. Dwayne Bryant joining us, everyone. Dwayne, anything to add so far to the show?
I just want to thank Teddy for aggravating you on the one segment I have on the show for this month.
I'm not aggravated, Dwayne. Not even slightly. There are more Toronto hockey players on the Golden Knights than there are on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Anyway, brother, we love having you on the show. Thanks for joining us. How's your summer going?
Pretty good. We finally got some rain here, which we really needed. I haven't seen rain in weeks here. My grass is half dead. But yeah, it's nice. Weather's not too hot, not too cold. Just, I love this time of year. I'm not a winter guy. I hate the snow. I hate the cold. Not that I'm a big fan of heat and humidity either. So, I mean, I'm loving it weather-wise right now.
Dwayne, let's get into it, man. We've got Miami playing Seattle in baseball. Castillo 4-4 with a 2.7 ERA and a really nice looking whip. He's playing Perez, really nice record as well. Very similar numbers. Total here is 7. Seattle minus 200. How do we bet this game?
Man, this isn't my normal approach to a game, but I really like the no runs first inning in this matchup. Yuri Perez starting for Miami. Perez has been very good the first time through the lineup in his rookie season. I mean, look at his numbers the first time through the batting order through his 6 starts. 0.66 ERA, 204 batting average allowed, 283 weighted on base average, a 35.2% strikeout rate the first time through the lineup. And he's yet to allow a first inning run in his 6 starts this season. So I like his chances for that streak to continue here. These Seattle hitters have never faced him. That should give Perez an edge the first time through the Seattle lineup. It's not like Seattle's numbers have been great against righties lately. They've got a 93 WRC plus against right-handed pitching over the last 2 weeks. That just makes me like this even more. Then you look at the other side of this, Luis Castillo. He's also been dominant the first time through the lineup this season. His numbers first time through the batting order are 164 average allowed, 072 whip, 225 weighted on base average, and another high strikeout rate, 33.3%. And Castillo's only allowed 1 first inning run in his 8 home starts this season. When you couple that with the fact that Miami is only producing an 84 WRC plus on the road against righties this season, I like Castillo's chances of putting up another first inning goose egg here tonight. When I did send this play to the producers this morning, the line was minus 140. Last I looked, it was up to 150. That doesn't sway me on this at all. Based on the data I just mentioned, I feel it's still worth the play at the current price.
So this is the single lowest total game on the board today. We're looking at 7, juiced to the under. Obviously, the no-run first inning, now juiced pretty heavy. Is this a game we look under it in all the different aspects? We go first 5 under here, full game under here. Or is this let's get in and out of the first inning and be done with it?
Yeah, I can't. The last time I looked at the first 5 for this game, it was 3.5. And that just, I don't do a lot of first 5 unders because I never seem to get the number I want. Like if I'm looking for a 4, they got a 3.5 on the board.
Yeah.
If I want a 4.5, they've got a 4 on the board. I almost never get the number I want. So first 5 unders are very rare for me. I did look at the full game under 7 here. And honestly, my notes aren't next to me right now, so I don't remember what kept me off of the full game. But definitely what caught my attention for the no-runs first inning is just how dominant these two guys have been the first time through the batting order. So, I mean, even those numbers that I quoted, that, they might only face 3 or 4 guys, the top 3 or 4 guys in that first inning. So, I love the fact that these Seattle batters have not faced Prez yet in his career. He should have an early game edge on top of the already great numbers that he's produced this season. I'm going to be shocked if there's a first inning run in this game.
Dwayne Bryant joining us, everyone. Teddy, you remember a few weeks ago they were putting out odds on if Teddy fought Prez, if Marco fought Brian Leonard in a ring?
Yeah.
I think Dwayne kicks all our asses. I think Dwayne can go into the Royal Rumble with all of us and come out the winner. I don't know, Dwayne. I've never met you personally. I hope I do this August, but man, I think you could kick Teddy and my ass. I put you at minus 400 against both of us at the same time. Anyway, especially with your Punisher shirts on, that's just scary to us. Dwayne. Phillies, Arizona, brother. Kelly on the mound. Nice season. 8-3, 2.92 ERA, 1.1 whip. This Arizona team, 41-26 on the year. They're playing awesome. Philly has been, 33-34. This is a team with high hopes. I think they're a bet on team moving forward, but I don't think I'd bet them here. What do you like?
I do like Arizona in this game today. We're listing Ranger Suarez and Merrill Kelly. I like that the Phillies are seeing Kelly for the first time this season, while Arizona already faced Suarez about 3 weeks ago, and they hit him pretty well. They plated 5 runs in 5 innings against him. Suarez being a lefty, I think that works well here for this play. Arizona's done very well against left-handed pitching. They own a 113 WRC plus against lefties at home, and a 132 WRC plus against lefties over the last 2 weeks. So it's no surprise to me that they drilled Suarez last month, or the fact that they're 5-1 as a home favorite against left-handed starting pitchers this season. I mentioned Suarez. He's made 2 career starts in Arizona, and they didn't go too well for him. He produced a 5.40 ERA and a 2.28 whip in those 2 starts. And that sky-high whip tells me that Suarez probably should have given up even more runs than he did in those games. On the other side, Merrill Kelly just gave up 3 runs in Detroit in his last start, which isn't a big deal. But I mention it because Arizona's 3-1 this season when Kelly starts after allowing 3 or more runs in his previous start. But even more important than that, in those 4 games, Kelly produced a 2.16 ERA and an 0.88 whip in those 4 games, and they did win both of the games when they were favored. Now, I don't want to take anything away from the Phillies here. They can certainly hit too. I mean, they just proved that last night. They hung 15 runs and 20 hits on Arizona. But the Phillies have scored double-digit runs in a series 2 other times this season, and they only averaged 3 runs in the following game. And both of those games were at home, where you'd expect that offensive explosion to carry over, and it didn't. The Phillies are just 1-4 this season as road underdogs under the lights against a right-handed starting pitcher. And again, they averaged just 3 runs in those 5 games. I'm not a fan of the Phillies bullpen. Arizona should have its best bullpen arms ready to roll tonight. So I think Arizona is a solid play in the game tonight.
So I want to ask you about Ranger Suarez, because he's really an interest. I don't know why this one particular hurler fascinates me, but he does. He's thrown 3 straight gems. He shut down the Dodgers last time out. He shut down the Mets, and he shut down the Nationals. He's a pitcher whose ERA on the road is less than half of what it is in Philadelphia. He's got a reverse home-road dichotomy, so he's been way more effective on the highway. So he's in good form, and he's been better on the road. And we just talked about how much we like Philadelphia's lineup. Is this a guy we're really comfortable fading here?
My memory's not the best, Teddy, but I think when I looked him up today, I just remember his stats and his advanced metrics being all over the place. Like some guys you can look at and their home road splits are night and day. And it's across the board, all the numbers, there's no doubt. I think if my memory is correct, when I looked at Suarez, his basic and his advanced metrics were all over the place. And again, I'm a guy where, and I just did it yesterday with Chris Bassett. I'm a buy low, sell high guy. When I see a guy like I'll just use Bassett as the example since I was on the Orioles' first 5 yesterday. He was coming off 2 excellent games. I believe he went 15 innings, only gave up 2 runs. His strikeout to walk rate was 13-0. And he was in against a good Baltimore lineup. And he didn't really have a good track record, at least that I could tell, of being able to spin 3 games in a row like that. So in certain spots, I don't have a problem fading a guy that's on a roll. Ranger Suarez definitely fits that mold for me. I have no problem selling high on him in this spot today.
Dwayne Bryant. Dwayne, we love having you on this show. Great stuff. What do you have to promote for the clients?
I do have one best bet going today in Major League Baseball. I'm a big SDQL guy. There's one trend that fits this game. It's specific to this team and this season. If you faded this team in this spot this season, you'd be 7-0. It's looking to me like it's going to be 8-0 tonight. I did include that in the write-up today. You can get that on my page right now at WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, guys, and there you go. Not only do you get Dwayne Bryant's pick for tonight, but you can use that angle moving forward as well. Outstanding stuff, Teddy. We still got Nick Borman coming on with some U.S. Open, but before we get into that, it's time for our BS segment with Teddy and the Prez. No music. I'll ask the question and throw it to you. Biggie J27 asks, I'm kind of curious how the odds makers come up with the baseball line. For example, -117 to -134 all the way to -300. Okay, that's an aberration, but we get the question. Teddy, I'll add a quick conceptual thought afterwards, but this one's in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I mean, it goes a lot higher than -300. When you talk about August baseball, you see -400s. You see -450. Sometimes it gets even higher than that.
550,
but the basic concept, to Biggie J, excellent question. The basic concept is every team has a base power rating. And the base power rating, the differences is going to go, if you start at 0, you'll 2 teams that are aligned at 0 will be -110 either way. And as you're talking about a base power rating moving up or down, you're going to see the adjustment in that line. When you have an elite team facing a bottom feeder, Tampa's facing Oakland today, and you'll see the elite team on the road laying -250, -$3, depending. So it's simply a power rating number as your base power rating. Then they adjust for the starting pitchers. And each starting pitcher is going to have his own, again, the markets as a whole versus individual bettors, they might price each starting pitcher slightly differently. But in general, you have a team power rating, you have a starting pitcher power rating, and you factor those 2 together to create an overall rating for Team A, same thing for Team B. And the difference between those power ratings ends up resulting in a money line like this. And maybe the better way to think about it is when you have a -200, that means Team A is supposed to win 67% of the time.
Right.
-300, they're supposed to win 75% of the time. And -150, they're supposed to win 60% of the time. And that basic thought process can get you a long way when trying to break down and understand how MLB money lines are created. It's all percentage chances. That's now now adjusted to create money lines that reflect those percentage chances of victory. Lawrence?
Yeah, well said, Teddy. Great stuff. What I just want to make a statement conceptually about all line making in general, regardless of sport. You know, a lot of friends ask me all the time, why is this team -3 in football? Why is this, the Vegas Golden Knights -160 in hockey, et cetera, et cetera. Teddy explained how the lines are made, and that's how they're made. But the other factor that everybody needs to understand is the bookmakers are honestly not against you, and they don't care if you win or lose. What they care about is having equal amount of money on both sides of the bet. If that's the case, on their 10% juice, they make about 3% net profit on the volume bet. And that's the business model for sports books. Try to make 3% net profit on all volume bet. So when you're coming up with a line, always understand that the general public are going to drive that as well. New York, the teams in New York, the teams in LA, Boston Red Sox, these teams have a huge army of bettors. Oakland A's have a very small army of bettors. That also is taken into account in the line. Teddy, you wanted to add something, and then we'll bring in Nick Borman.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I couldn't disagree with you more with multiple things
what
that you
else
just
is
said.
new?
The betting, so the model for sports books used to be, let's try to get 50-50 action. They never get 50-50 action. They're well aware they're not getting 50-50 action. The modern model for sports books is not about a 3% hold. It's about a 5% hold, a 7% hold, a 10% hold. So the information you're giving out there is a little bit obsolete. They're not looking. They're not looking for equal action. That, in theory, they're always looking for equal action. But the reality of sports betting is you never get it. When you talk when you talk about who the lines are set to beat, there is not a book in the world that cares about recreational bettors. Not one. Even the books that cater to recreational bettors. All right. Every line is set to beat wise guys. Every line is set to beat the guy that's betting 100 dimes, not $20. That's in baseball, that's in football, that's in basketball, that's in tennis, across sports. So the books know full well that the recreational player is going to have some ups, but their downs are likely to be greater than their ups. And sooner or later, they're favorites to win the recreational bettors' deposits. That's not the case for professional bettors. So when lines are set, when the markets get established, it's about wise guy money beating the wise guys. They're not worried about beating the recreational bettors. That's my take on it.
Okay. Listen, I don't want to get into it with you. It's a great question to ask Art on Friday, but I will say this. There are very few wise guys betting $100,000 bets at DraftKings and FanDuel, and they are driving the market right now. So me and you will agree to disagree, but I still love you. Nick Borman joining us, everyone.
I have to follow that, because if you say DraftKings
We're
is driving
never
the
going to end
market,
the show.
I have to follow that, because it's flat out false. When you give out bad info, I need to give it. DraftKings stock price is in the tank because DraftKings can't make lines. If you look, click on the WagerTalk live odds screen.
But that's
look at the
where
openers.
People are betting.
Look at the openers on the WagerTalk. Just click on the little openers button, and you'll see day after day, DraftKings openers are getting pounded because they can't put out good openers. DraftKings openers are not the market. That's why their stock price stinks, and that's why DraftKings is they're not driving the market. They're taking advantage
Teddy,
of the current conditions, but they're not driving the markets.
We got to bring Nick Borman in. Just for the record, DraftKings' stock is the highest today that it's been in a year. All it's doing is going up. The fact is, just like the cannabis business,
Nick Borman.
When the sports book, okay, fine, but whatever. Nick, we're done the show in 30 seconds, bro. No, I'm kidding. We're going to run late for you. How are you, brother?
I'm great. That was very entertaining to watch that last 2 minutes with you guys. Much appreciated. Well worth everything.
Hey, Teddy and I don't have to agree on everything, man.
No,
That,
better if you don't.
it just doesn't work that way. I mean, Teddy thinks he's a champion because the Vegas Golden Knights won. So Teddy is a champ. Nick Borman, if Rory McIlroy wins the U.S. Open, are you a champion?
No, because I'm not betting him.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Well, no, let's just leave it at that. Okay, brother. What I would consider the third most important golf tournament of the year is happening this week. It's happening in LA. Jason Bateman and Will Arnett have told us for the last 2 weeks about it on TikTok. Yes, number 3. I put the Masters, the Open, and then the U.S. Open.
Oh, okay. I
So
didn't know
that's
what
just
2 was.
me,
but
though.
the Open. Okay.
That's just me. Anyway, you got an outright winner for us. Fill us in, and then no follow-up from Teddy. He'll ask the next question.
Fair enough. And full disclosure on my outright here, I truly do believe this is going to be won by a Scheffler, a Rahm, a Koepka, one of these top 3 players. But you don't need me to come on the show and tell you to bet Scotty Scheffler. So instead, I'll go a little further down the list. And listen, the long shot is not winning this. You got the mid-range where maybe somebody can make some noise. I'm looking at Tyrrell Hatton. He's playing great right now. He's only got 1 tour win under his belt, but that's going to change soon. He's playing as good as anybody on tour, if not better than anybody on tour, of somebody that just hasn't won yet this year. But in his last 20 starts worldwide, which goes back to the fall when he was playing on the DP World Tour as well, he's got 14 top 20 finishes. That's 70% in the top 20, making his plus 120 price tag as a top 20 finish right now pretty attractive. You can also look at the top 10 market on him. He's finished in the top 10 half of the time, 10 out of 20 events. And right now you're getting paid 3-1 plus 300 to do so this week. So there are some attractive prices on him to back up an outright. But I do think 35-1 for him to win an outright is pretty good. He ranks 3rd on tour this year, total strokes gained. Extremely well-rounded in all areas, which you need at a U.S. Open. He's gaining strokes putting, short game, and ball striking, which includes off the tee and approach. U.S. Open venues, obviously very, very tough. Saving par is like making birdies at any other event, and scrambling is a huge part of that. Hatton ranks 11th this season on tour in that department. He also ranks 7th in strokes gained putting, 3rd in scoring average, and 10th in par 3 scoring. I bring that up because there are 5 par 3s this week, 1 extra one, more than normal, so a little extra emphasis on par 3 scoring this week. The last thing I'll say about Hatton, his downfall is that he can be a loose cannon at times, and at a U.S. Open, you got to be patient. You got to hang in there. You're going to have ebbs and flows, and if he can get past that, he's got a good chance to win. And that again is a weakness. Why I that might be the hang up that keeps him holding back here. But again, if he didn't have that, he'd probably be at that plus 700 number like you see Scheffler. So, but I think Hatton's going to give us a chance, guys, on Sunday, and that's all you want when you're betting outrights. 35-1 is a pretty good price on him.
We're talking U.S. Open betting for this weekend with Nick Borman. Nick, you talked about Hatton outright. Talk to me about Shane Lowry and what you think he's going to do in the tournament this week. Do we want him top 10, top 20, not to make the cut? What do we do with Lowry in this one?
So I know Andy, my buddy Andy, talked about fading Lowry in a matchup on yesterday's show over Rose. And I don't hate the play. Listen, Rose has been red hot. But the thing I like about Lowry, because I'm going to recommend betting on him in a leaderboard market here, top 20 specifically, is that he's like Koepka when it comes to majors. And anybody that watches golf is going to snicker at that comment. Okay, he's not winning them. He's not finishing in the top 5. But he tends to show up and play very, very well at the majors. Over his last 11 major starts, Lowry's finished inside the top 25 in 9 of them. Pretty solid. This week, we need a top 20, so a little extra there. I need one extra shot out of him, but he's going for that trifecta this year. He finished tied for 12th at the PGA and tied for 16th at the Masters. This year, he ranks 14th in strokes gained approach, 15th in proximity to the hole, and 6th in proximity on distances from 225 and up to the pin. And we're going to see a lot of those this week. In fact, 2 of the par 3s this week can play as long as 285 or 290 yards, which is ridiculous. So that is a huge stat that I'm paying attention to this week as well. Lowry, generally very crafty with his short game. He's gained strokes around the green in 8 straight majors. This week, especially important, we have Bermuda rough around the greens, which most people might not understand, but that means the ball nestles to the bottom of Bermuda like it doesn't on any other type of grass, and it makes it very, very difficult. So having a little extra short game acumen will be his benefit this week. And lastly, his approach play, his shots into the green, excellent as well. He's gained strokes in 8 of his last 9 stroke play events in that metric. Going back further, he's lost strokes on approach just 5 times over the last 31 measured events. So he's hitting the ball well. He shows up in the majors. Andy and I can both cash if Lowry finishes 15th and J. Rose finishes 14th. So I don't hate his play, but I do think Lowry is still going to have a good week this week.
There we go. Nick frickin' Borman. Outstanding stuff. A scratch golfer himself. Nick, where can people get lessons from you in golf?
Got to come to Philly. If you're in Philly, I'm right outside the city. We can hook up. We can get together. We'll have a couple transfusions while we talk golf on the lesson tee.
There you go. Nick Borman, our number 1 golf expert at WagerTalk. You have a 5% play up for our clients for the U.S. Open. What else do you have going on?
I do. 5% plays in golf are rare. I did have just one other recently, which was at the PGA Championship. That one won. This is a leaderboard bet, so it's a top 20 play or a top 10 play there. So you got to make sure you can have that market available to you. But it is available, obviously, until tee off tomorrow. And then I do have one MLS best bet, going tonight. Number 1 in MLS, going for 5 straight profitable seasons and crushing it so far this year. So hopefully we can continue that as well.
That's the show. Awesome stuff, Nick Borman. Teddy, we got another one tomorrow, and then you and Merrill on Friday. I'll be back on Monday. Take us home, my brother. I'm doing shawarma today.
Shawarma away, Prez. That's going to wrap it for the Wednesday edition of WagerTalk Today. Like Lauren said, we'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel. 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and then, you guys know what to do. Enjoy the games, and best of luck with all your wagers. Thanks for watching.